The vast expanse of the Milky Way buzzed with life. Countless alien civilizations thrived among the stars, each believing they were the bravest and most advanced in the galaxy. Little did they know that their long-held beliefs were about to be shaken to the core. On the planet Zorth, in the Andromeda arm of the galaxy, the Zorthians prided themselves on their thick, armored skin. They boasted about how they could withstand extreme temperatures and even survive in the vacuum of space for short periods. The Zorthians looked down on races they saw as soft or weak. In another part of the galaxy, the Meeplings of Epsilon Eridani had evolved to become beings of pure energy. They floated through space, needing no ships or protective gear. The Meeplings thought this made them the most courageous species, as they faced the dangers of space with nothing but their own essence. The Krill, a race of highly intelligent crustacean-like beings from the watery world of Aquarius Prime, had mastered the art of telepathy. They could communicate instantly across vast distances and even read the minds of other species. This ability made them feel superior and fearless in the face of any threat. For millennia, these races and many others had coexisted in an uneasy peace. They traded, sometimes fought small wars, and generally tried to outdo each other in shows of bravery and technological advancement. The galaxy was their playground, and they were its undisputed masters. But then, something changed. It started as a whisper, a faint rumble at the edges of the galaxy. Strange signals were detected, unlike anything seen before. At first, the various races paid little attention. After all, what could possibly threaten such advanced civilizations? As the signals grew stronger and more frequent, worry began to spread. The Zorthians' thick skin seemed to crawl with unease. The Meeplings' energy forms flickered with anxiety. Even the all-knowing Krill found themselves unable to decipher the mysterious messages. Scientists from every world worked tirelessly to understand the source of these signals. They pointed their most powerful telescopes towards the outer reaches of the galaxy. What they saw chilled them to their very core. A massive fleet of ships was approaching, unlike anything ever encountered. These ships were dark, absorbing all light around them. They moved with impossible speed and precision, defying the laws of physics as the galaxy knew them. Panic spread quickly. The Galactic Council, a body representing all known intelligent species, called an emergency meeting. Representatives from every world gathered on the neutral planet of Centauri Beta. The council chamber was a cacophony of noise and fear. The Zorthians pounded their armored fists on the table, demanding immediate military action. The Meeplings flickered in and out of existence, their energy forms unstable with worry. The Krill remained silent, their telepathic abilities overwhelmed by the collective fear in the room. As the debate raged on, a young Meepling named Zix floated forward. In a voice that echoed with determination, Zix spoke. "Fellow beings of the galaxy, we stand at the brink of an unprecedented threat. These newcomers, whoever they are, have technology far beyond our understanding. Our bravery, our advanced civilizations, all we hold dear may not be enough to face this challenge." The chamber fell silent. Zix's words had struck a chord with everyone present. For the first time in galactic history, these advanced races felt truly afraid. The Zorthian representative, a grizzled veteran named Krygoth, spoke next. His voice was gruff, but tinged with an unfamiliar emotion: humility. "The Meepling speaks truth. We have long prided ourselves on our strength, our ability to withstand any physical challenge. But this is different. We need more than brute force to face this threat." One by one, representatives from each race stood to speak. They all echoed the same sentiment: fear, uncertainty, and a desperate need for a solution. As the meeting drew to a close, the Galactic Council made a decision. They would send out a call for help to every corner of the galaxy. Any race, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, might hold the key to their survival. Little did they know that far away, on a small blue planet in an unremarkable solar system, A young species was about to take its first steps into the stars. These beings, known as humans, were considered primitive by galactic standards. They had only recently developed space travel and were yet to make contact with any alien civilization. But humans had something that the other races had forgotten in their long years of advancement: the ability to face fear head-on and find courage in the most unlikely places. As the signal from the Galactic Council reached Earth, humanity stood on the brink of a journey that would change the fate of the entire galaxy. The stage was set for an epic tale of bravery, ingenuity, and the indomitable spirit of a species long underestimated by the cosmos. While the advanced alien civilizations of the galaxy trembled in fear of the approaching threat, life on Earth continued as usual. Humans went about their daily lives, unaware of the cosmic drama unfolding around them. In a small town in the American Midwest, Dr. Sarah Chen worked tirelessly in her laboratory. She was part of a team developing new propulsion systems for space exploration. Sarah dreamed of the day humans would reach beyond their solar system, never imagining how soon that day would come. Thousands of miles away, in a bustling city in Nigeria, Adebayo Okafor sat in front of his computer, coding a new AI system. He hoped his work would one day help guide spacecraft through the dangers of space. Little did he know, his creation would soon face challenges far beyond his wildest imagination. High above the Earth's surface, aboard the International Space Station, Colonel Yuri Petrov gazed out at the stars. He had always felt small in the face of the universe's vastness, yet there was a strength in that feeling, a determination to explore and understand. As these individuals and countless others worked towards humanity's future in space, the signal from the Galactic Council finally reached Earth. It came not as a clear message, but as an unusual pattern detected by radio telescopes around the world. At first, scientists were puzzled. Was it a natural phenomenon, a pulsar, or something entirely new? Teams worked around the clock to decipher the strange signal. It was Dr. Chen who first realized the pattern wasn't random noise, but a complex mathematical sequence. Her discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. This was undeniable proof of intelligent life beyond Earth. Governments around the world scrambled to respond. Emergency meetings were held, and for once, nations set aside their differences in the face of this monumental revelation. As the world's best minds worked to understand the message, Adebayo's AI system proved invaluable. It could process and analyze data at speeds no human could match. Within weeks, the AI had deciphered enough of the signal to understand its urgent nature. The message was clear. Help was needed. A threat was coming. And somehow, improbably, humanity had been called upon. The news broke worldwide, causing a mix of excitement, fear, and disbelief. Humanity, a species that had only recently sent probes beyond its own solar system, was being asked to join a galactic community in crisis. Colonel Petrov, watching from space, saw his home planet in a new light. The petty conflicts that had defined human history seemed insignificant now. There was a bigger universe out there, and it needed them. World leaders debated how to respond. Some argued for caution, fearing it could be a trap. Others saw it as humanity's chance to prove itself on a cosmic scale. In the end, it was decided. Humanity would answer the call. But how could a species that had never left its own solar system hope to reach the stars? The answer came from an unexpected source. Hidden within the complex signal was information, blueprints for technology far beyond human understanding. Faster than light travel, energy shields, weapons capable of destroying planets. It was as if the galaxy itself was offering humanity the tools it needed. Dr. Chen and her team worked tirelessly to understand and implement this new technology. Progress that should have taken centuries happened in months. The first faster-than-light engine was built, tested, and proven successful. Adebayo's AI was integrated into the systems of Earth's first true starship, ready to guide humanity through the perils of deep space. As the ship neared completion, a crew was selected. Men and women from every corner of the globe, chosen not just for their skills, but for their courage, adaptability, and unique human spark. Colonel Petrov was selected to lead this mission. His years in space had prepared him for the unknown better than anyone. On the day of launch, the world held its breath. The sleek starship, named Hope, stood ready on its launch pad. Inside, the crew ran final checks, each feeling the weight of history on their shoulders. As the countdown reached 0, engines flared to life, with a roar that echoed across the planet. Humanity's first starship lifted off, destined for the stars. From orbit, Petrov looked back at the Earth, now seeming so small and fragile. "We go," he said softly, "not just for our world, but for all worlds." With a flash of light, the ship disappeared into the vastness of space. Humanity had taken its first true step into the galactic community. They were seen as newcomers, perhaps even primitive by the standards of other races. But they carried with them something unique, a spirit forged through millennia of overcoming challenges, of facing fears, of surviving against all odds. The galaxy had called for help. Humanity, the unlikely heroes, were on their way. As the human starship, Hope, hurtled through the vastness of space, the situation in the galaxy grew more dire. The mysterious threat that had united the alien races was no longer a distant worry. It had arrived. On the edge of the Andromeda Arm, a Zorthian outpost went dark. No distress signal, no warning. One moment it was there, the next, nothing but silence. The thick-skinned Zorthians, once so proud of their toughness, felt fear creep into their hearts. The Meeplings, beings of pure energy, tried to investigate. They sent their best scouts to the area. Of the 10 that went, only one returned. Its energy form was weak, flickering like a candle in the wind. Before it faded completely, it shared a terrifying vision. Ships that devoured light itself, weapons that tore apart the very fabric of space. Panic spread through the galactic community like wildfire. The Krill's telepathic networks buzzed with terrified thoughts. No one could block out the fear. It was everywhere, in every mind. The Galactic Council called for an emergency session. Representatives from every world gathered once again on Centauri Beta. The chamber, once filled with boastful aliens, now echoed with whispers of dread. Zix, the young Meepling who had spoken out before, floated forward. "We have reports from 17 systems now," it said, its voice trembling. "Whatever this threat is, it's moving faster than we anticipated. We're running out of time." Kregoth, the Zorthian representative, slammed his fist on the table. "Then we fight," he roared. But his voice lacked its usual confidence. Everyone in the room knew the truth. They were afraid. As the council argued, a new signal came in. It was from the human ship, Hope. They had made contact with the Galactic Council's outpost and were requesting coordinates to join the meeting. The news spread quickly. The humans, those primitive beings from a backwater planet, had actually made it. They had crossed the vast distances of space in an incredibly short time. How was this possible? The council chamber fell silent as the humans were patched through. On the large view screen, Colonel Yuri Petrov's face appeared. He looked tired but determined. "Greetings, representatives of the galaxy," Petrov said. "We've come in response to your call for help. We're ready to assist in any way we can." The aliens stared in disbelief. These soft-skinned, fragile-looking creatures had braved the terrors of deep space to help them. It seemed impossible. Zix spoke up. "Human, do you not understand the gravity of the situation? We face a threat unlike any we've ever seen. Entire worlds have gone dark. How can your single ship hope to make a difference?" Petrov's eyes narrowed. "We may be new to your galaxy, but we're not strangers to facing overwhelming odds. Humanity has a long history of standing up to threats, no matter how dire the situation might seem." As if to underscore his words, alarms suddenly blared throughout the council chamber. A Krill telepath, its eyes wide with terror, shouted, "They're here. The enemy fleet has entered the system." Panic erupted. Representatives scrambled, some trying to flee, others frozen in fear. But amidst the chaos, Petrov's voice rang out, calm and steady. "We're on our way," he said. "Hold your ground. We'll show you what humanity can do." The view screen went dark as Hope changed course, heading straight for the Centauri Beta system. The council members looked at each other in disbelief. Were these humans brave or simply foolish? Outside, in the cold vastness of space, the enemy fleet appeared. Their ships were just as the Meepling scout had described, massive, dark vessels that seemed to absorb all light around them. They moved with an eerie silence, their weapons charging, ready to unleash destruction. The defensive fleet of the Galactic Council, a hodgepodge of ships from various races, looked pitiful in comparison. Fear gripped every pilot, every gunner. Many considered fleeing, but where could they go? If Centauri Beta fell, nowhere in the galaxy would be safe. Just as hope seemed lost, a bright flash lit up space. The human ship Hope dropped out of faster-than-light travel, positioning itself between the Council fleet and the enemy. For a moment, everything stood still. The enemy ships, seemingly confused by this new arrival, paused their advance. The Council fleet watched in awe. And aboard Hope, Colonel Petrov and his crew prepared for battle. "All hands, battle stations," Petrov's voice rang through the ship. "Let's show the galaxy what humanity can do when the chips are down." As both fleets faced each other, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The humans, seen as cowards by many, were the only ones brave enough to stand against the darkness. The real battle was about to begin. As the human starship Hope faced the terrifying enemy fleet, the aliens of the Galactic Council watched in stunned silence. They couldn't understand why these newcomers to space travel would willingly put themselves in such danger. Aboard Hope, Colonel Yuri Petrov stood calmly on the bridge. His crew, though nervous, worked with focused determination. Dr. Sarah Chen monitored the ship's new advanced systems, while Adebayo Okafor's AI assistant analyzed the enemy's movements. "Sir," said Lieutenant Maria Rodriguez, the weapons officer, "the enemy ships are powering up their weapons. They're about to fire." Petrov nodded. "Activate shields. Prepare evasive maneuvers." The enemy fired, their strange weapons distorting space itself. But to everyone's surprise, Hope danced between the blasts with impossible grace. The human ship moved in ways the aliens had never seen before. On Centauri Beta, the Galactic Council watched in awe. Zix, the young Meepling, couldn't believe its eyes. How are they doing that? Their reflexes are incredible. Kragoth, the Zorthian representative, leaned forward, his thick skin creasing in concentration. "It's not just reflexes. Look at how they predict the enemy's moves. It's like they've done this before." Indeed, the humans aboard Hope were drawing on a long history of conflict and challenge. Each crew member carried within them the collective experience of countless generations who had faced adversity and survived. As Hope evaded another barrage, Dr. Chen called out, "Colonel, I'm detecting a pattern in their attack sequence. It's complex, but there's definitely a pattern." Petrov smiled. "Good work, Doctor. Adebayo, can your eye predict their next move?" Adebayo's fingers flew over his console. "Already on it, sir. AI says 92% chance their next attack will target our port side." "Helm, prepare to roll starboard on my mark," Petrov ordered. The enemy fired again, just as predicted. Hope rolled gracefully, the deadly beams missing by mere meters. Back on Centauri Beta, the aliens were buzzing with excitement. The Krill telepaths were picking up waves of determination and courage from the human ship. It was infectious, spreading through the gathered aliens like a wildfire. Zix turned to the others. "Don't you see? The humans aren't just lucky. They're prepared. They've trained for this." Kragoth nodded slowly. "But how? They've never encountered this enemy before." An elderly Krill stepped forward, his eyes glowing with realization. "It's not about this specific enemy. It's about facing the unknown. These humans, their entire history is filled with overcoming challenges. They've turned fear into a strength. On Hope, the battle continued. The ship took some hits, but its advanced shields held. More importantly, with each exchange, the humans learned more about their enemy. "Sir," Adebayo called out, "the AI has found a weakness in their formation. If we can disrupt their lead ship, it might throw their whole fleet into disarray." Petrov considered for a moment. It was a risky move, but it might be their only chance. "Helm, set a course for the enemy flagship. Weapons, prepare to fire everything we've got." As Hope charged towards the heart of the enemy fleet, the aliens watching from Centauri Beta held their breath. It looked like a suicide run. But the humans had a plan. Just as they reached the enemy flagship, Hope unleashed a barrage of weapons fire unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Beams of energy, missiles that phased in and out of reality, and strange devices that created localized singularities all struck the enemy ship at once. The flagship's defenses crumbled under the assault. As it began to break apart, the rest of the enemy fleet fell into chaos, just as Adebayo's AI had predicted. Cheers erupted on Centauri Beta. The seemingly invincible enemy had been dealt a massive blow by these newcomers to the galactic stage. As the enemy retreated to regroup, Hope returned to the Galactic Council's defensive line. The ship bore scars from the battle, but it flew proudly. Colonel Petrov opened a channel to the Council. "We've bought some time, but this fight is far from over. We need to prepare for their return." The aliens, once dismissive of these primitive humans, now looked at them with newfound respect and hope. They realized that humanity's greatest strength wasn't advanced technology or physical prowess. It was their spirit, their ability to face fear and use it as a motivator rather than a paralyzer. Zix spoke for many when it said, "We misjudged you, humans. We thought your caution was cowardice. But now we see it for what it is, wisdom born from facing countless challenges." As the Galactic Council began to plan their next move, they did so with renewed energy. The humans had shown them that even in the darkest times, there was always hope. The true battle was just beginning. But now, with humanity standing beside them, the galaxy felt ready to face whatever came next. In the wake of the human starship Hope's impressive display against the enemy fleet, a new energy surged through the Galactic Council. The aliens, once paralyzed by fear, now looked to the humans with a mixture of awe and curiosity. Colonel Yuri Petrov stood before the council, his uniform still bearing the marks of the recent battle. Beside him were Dr. Sarah Chen and Adebayo Okafor, ready to share their expertise. "Fellow beings of the galaxy," Petrov began, his voice steady and determined. "We've shown that this enemy can be fought, but we can't do it alone. We need all of you, every race, every world, to stand together." The chamber buzzed with nervous energy. Zix, the young meepling, floated forward. "But how? We're not warriors like you humans. We don't have your, what do you call it? Your fighting spirit." Petrov smiled. "Fighting spirit isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop when you have something worth fighting for. And right now, we all have something worth fighting for. Our homes, our families, our very existence." Dr. Chen stepped forward, her eyes bright with excitement. "We've analyzed the enemy's technology. It's advanced, yes, but not unbeatable. Each of your races has unique abilities that could be crucial in this fight." She turned to the Zorthians. "Your armored skin could be the basis for new, stronger ship hulls." To the Meeplings, she said, "Your energy forms could revolutionize our power systems." Finally, to the Krill, "Your telepathy could give us an unbeatable advantage in coordinating our fleet." The aliens looked at each other, a spark of hope igniting in their eyes. For the first time, they began to see how they could contribute. Adebayo spoke next, his voice calm but filled with conviction. "My AI has run millions of simulations. If we work together, combining human strategy with your unique abilities, our chances of victory increase tenfold." A murmur of excitement ran through the chamber. "Krygoth, The gruff Zorthian representative stood up. The humans speak sense. We've hidden in fear for too long. I say we fight. One by one, representatives from each race stood, pledging their support. The Meeplings glowed brighter, their energy pulsing with determination. The Krill's telepathic network buzzed with strategies and plans. As the council chamber filled with a new sense of purpose, alarms suddenly blared. A Krill telepath's eyes widened in shock. The enemy. They're back, and in greater numbers. Panic threatened to overtake the newfound courage, but Petrov's voice cut through the chaos. This is it. This is our moment to stand together. Every ship, every weapon, every being. We need them all. The council sprang into action. Orders were given, ships were launched, and a hastily assembled fleet began to form around Centauri Beta. Aboard Hope, now the unofficial flagship of this diverse armada, Petrov addressed the fleet. We are different species from different worlds, but today we are one. We fight not just for ourselves, but for each other, for every free being in this galaxy. A cheer went up across the communication channels. Ships of all shapes and sizes moved into formation, ready to face the oncoming storm. As the enemy fleet appeared on the long-range scanners, a tense silence fell over the Allied forces. The dark ships, more numerous than before, seemed to swallow the light of the stars behind them. Dr. Chen's voice came over the comm. Remember, we've upgraded as many ships as we could with our shield technology. Zorthian crews, your job is to take the front lines. Meepling energy beings, stand by to power up our main weapons. Krill telepaths, link all ship commanders for perfect coordination. Petrov took a deep breath, looking out at the assembled fleet. It wasn't pretty, a mismatched collection of vessels from a dozen different worlds. But in that moment, he saw something beautiful. He saw unity, courage, and hope. All ships, he commanded, his voice steady, prepare for battle. Today we show the enemy that the free people of this galaxy will not go quietly. Today we fight for our future. As the two fleets drew closer, tension mounted. But unlike before, there was no fear in the Allied ships. In its place was determination, a will to fight not just for survival, but for victory. The enemy fired first, a barrage of energy weapons lighting up space. But this time, the Allies were ready. Zorthian ships took the brunt of the attack, their reinforced hulls holding strong. Meepling-powered weapons fired back, their shots more accurate thanks to Krill telepathic coordination. And at the heart of it all, the humans of Hope directed the battle, their strategies and quick thinking turning the tide. As the battle was joined in earnest, one thing became clear to all. The galaxy had found its voice, its courage, and it was roaring defiance at those who would threaten its freedom. The greatest battle in galactic history had begun, with humanity leading the charge. The vastness of space around Centauri Beta erupted into chaos as the Allied fleet engaged the enemy. Flashes of weapons fire lit up the darkness, and explosions bloomed like deadly flowers against the backdrop of stars. Aboard the human starship Hope, Colonel Yuri Petrov stood at the command center, his eyes darting between holographic displays of the battle. Dr. Sarah Chen and Adebayo Okafor worked furiously at their stations, coordinating the complex dance of ships and weaponry. Zorthian cruisers, hold the line. Petrov's voice rang out over the comms. Meepling energy vessels, target their flagship's propulsion systems. The battle raged on, fierce and unforgiving. The enemy's dark ships moved with eerie precision, their weapons tearing through space itself. But the Allied fleet, inspired by human courage and united in purpose, fought back with everything they had. Krill telepaths linked the minds of ship captains across the fleet, allowing for split-second decisions and perfect coordination. Zorthian ships, their hulls reinforced with technology based on their own thick skin, absorbed punishing blows that would have destroyed other vessels. Meepling energy beings poured themselves into the Allies' weapon systems, supercharging them to unprecedented levels. Beams of pure energy lanced out, piercing the enemy's seemingly impenetrable defenses. Yet for all their efforts, the battle hung in the balance. For every enemy ship destroyed, it seemed two more took its place. The Allied fleet was being pushed back, inch by hard-fought inch. On Hope's bridge, alarms blared as a particularly vicious attack rocked the ship. Shields at 30%. Lieutenant Rodriguez called out, her hands flying over her console to reroute power. Petrov gritted his teeth. They needed something more, a way to turn the tide. Dr. Chen, what's the status on that secret weapon you've been working on? Sarah looked up from her station, her face streaked with sweat and determination. It's ready, Colonel, but using it could be risky. We don't know what effect it might have on our own ships. Petrov nodded grimly. At this point, we don't have a choice. Prepare to deploy. As Hope maneuvered into position, Adebayo's eye assistant suddenly chirped in alert. Colonel, Adebayo called out, his eyes wide. I'm detecting a massive energy buildup in the enemy flagship. Whatever they're planning, it's big. Petrov's decision was instant. All Allied ships, fall back. Dr. Chen, deploy the weapon now. Sarah took a deep breath and pressed a series of commands into her console. From the underside of Hope, a small probe launched, streaking towards the heart of the enemy fleet. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, in a blinding flash, the probe detonated, but instead of an explosion, it released a wave of strange, shimmering energy that washed over both fleets. The effect was immediate and startling. The enemy ships, once so coordinated and deadly, suddenly seemed to lose all power. They drifted aimlessly, their weapons silent. But the Allied fleet wasn't unaffected. Ships shuddered and systems flickered. On Hope, the lights dimmed and consoles sputtered. What's happening? Petrov demanded, steadying himself against his command chair. Sarah's voice was filled with awe. It's a technology disruptor. It's temporarily neutralizing all advanced tech in the area. But our ships? They're adapting. Indeed, across the Allied fleet, something remarkable was happening. The diverse collection of ships, each built by a different race with different technologies, began to power back up. They had one thing in common. They were all now running on hastily installed human backup systems, simple but effective technology that was resistant to the disruptor's effects. The enemy fleet, however, remained dead in space. Their hyper-advanced technology, once their greatest strength, had become their downfall. Petrov saw their chance. All ships, this is our moment. Attack with everything you've got. The Allied fleet surged forward. Zorthian ships rammed into helpless enemy vessels. Meepling energy beings slipped into the enemy ships, shorting out what systems remained. Krill telepaths broadcast confusion and fear into the minds of the enemy crews. And at the center of it all, Hope led the charge, its human crew demonstrating the tactics and determination that had defined their species for millennia. The battle turned into a rout. Enemy ships fell one after another, unable to defend themselves. Their once mighty fleet was reduced to drifting debris. As the last enemy ship flickered and went dark, a cheer went up across the Allied fleet. They had done it. Against all odds, they had won. On Hope's bridge, Petrov allowed himself a small smile. Send word to Centauri Beta. Tell them the galaxy is safe. As the message was relayed, the enormity of what they had accomplished began to sink in. Humans, the newcomers to the galactic stage, had united the diverse races of the galaxy and led them to victory against an seemingly unbeatable foe. The great battle was over, but its impact on the galaxy was only beginning to be felt. In the days following the great battle, the galaxy buzzed with excitement and change. The Allied fleet, victorious but battle-worn, returned to Centauri Beta. Ships limped into orbit, their hulls scared but their crews triumphant. The human starship Hope led the procession, a symbol of the unlikely victory they had achieved. As the dust settled, the Galactic Council convened once again. But this time, the chamber was filled with a new energy. Gone was the fear and division that had once defined their meetings. In its place was a sense of unity and purpose. Colonel Yuri Petrov, Dr. Sarah Chen, and Adebayo Okafor stood before the council, representing humanity. The aliens looked at them with newfound respect and admiration. Zix, the young meepling who had once doubted the humans, floated forward. Its energy form glowed brightly with excitement. "Humans," it said, its voice filled with awe, "you have saved us all. How can we ever repay you?" Petrov smiled, his eyes reflecting the wisdom gained through the ordeal. "There's no debt to repay," he said. "We're all part of this galaxy. Your victory is our victory." Kragoth, the gruff Zorthian representative, stepped forward. His thick skin was marked with new scars, badges of honor from the battle. "Perhaps," he rumbled, "but we have much to learn from you humans. Your courage, your adaptability. These are things we had forgotten in our complacency." The Krill telepath nodded in agreement, its eyes glowing with insights gleaned from the minds it had touched during the battle. "Indeed," it said, "the humans' minds are fascinating. They don't just face fear, they use it, learn from it. This is a strength we must all cultivate." As the council members voiced their admiration, Dr. Chen stepped forward. "While we're honored by your words," she said, "the truth is, we couldn't have won without each of you. The Zorthians' resilience, the Meeplings' energy manipulation, the Krill's telepathy, all were crucial to our victory." Adebayo nodded, adding, "Our strength wasn't just in human ingenuity, but in our unity. We took the best of each race and combined it into something greater than the sum of its parts." The council chamber buzzed with agreement. Petrov raised his hand, calling for attention. "Which is why," he said, his voice carrying across the room, "we propose a new galactic order. Not one of fear and isolation, but of cooperation and mutual support." The idea spread through the chamber like wildfire. Representatives from every world voiced their approval. The Galactic Council, once a fragile alliance, was transforming before their eyes into something stronger, more united. Over the following weeks, changes swept across the galaxy. The technology that had won the war was shared freely among all races. Zorthian shipyards began producing vessels with hulls that combined their natural resilience with human engineering. Meepling energy beings worked alongside other races, enhancing power systems across countless worlds. Krill telepaths helped establish a faster, more efficient communication network that spanned the galaxy. And at the heart of it all were the humans. Their homeworld, Earth, became a hub of galactic cooperation. Aliens from every corner of the galaxy flocked to learn from them, to study their history of overcoming adversity. But the humans were students as well as teachers. They marveled at the wonders of alien cultures, integrating new ideas and technologies into their society. It was a golden age of cultural and scientific exchange. As the galaxy settled into its new era of peace and cooperation, Colonel Petrov stood on the observation deck of a new space station orbiting Earth. Dr. Chen and Adebayo joined him, watching ships of all shapes and sizes coming and going. "Who would have thought," Adebayo mused, "that our first step into the galactic community would lead to all this?" Dr. Chen nodded, her eyes bright with the possibilities of the future. "We came as newcomers, seen as primitive by many. Now look at us, at the forefront of a galactic renaissance." Petrov smiled, his gaze fixed on the stars beyond. "It just goes to show," he said softly, "that true strength isn't about advanced technology or physical power. It's about the spirit to face challenges, the wisdom to learn from them, and the heart to stand together in the face of adversity." As they watched, a group of alien visitors approached, eager to learn more about human history and culture. The three friends exchanged knowing glances. Their adventure had begun with a call for help from the stars. It had led to a battle for survival. And now, it was opening the door to a future brighter than any of them could have imagined. The galaxy had called humanity cowardly. But in the end, humans had proven to be the bravest of all, not because they feared nothing, but because they had the courage to face their fears and inspire others to do the same. As the sun rose over Earth, casting its light across the bustling space station, one thing was clear: the greatest adventure for humanity, and for the galaxy, was just beginning.